Let's talk to Megan in Kansas City, Missouri. Megan, what's going on?
Hey, Dr. John. Thank you so much for taking my call. I was really excited to chat with Kelly this morning, but I guess I can talk to you too.
Yeah, so well played. I see what you did there.
I think I should probably be a little nicer to you because I need some advice.
I disagree. Kelly's she's the brains behind this show. So what's up? How can I help?
So my husband and I need some parenting advice. We are the parent to the sweetest, cutest, smartest, most tenacious, funniest, sassiest 8-year-old little girl. And we have some concerns about her weight.
Okay.
So she's 8. She, on her growth chart, has really been pacing 60% for height, 90% for weight for really her entire life since she's been tracked.
Okay.
And so we have some concerns about her weight. She's kind of starting to outpace her height growth. And so we brought our concerns to her pediatrician. Mm-hmm. And we had a candid conversation with her without her around. And just said, we're really kind of concerned. We have our own family struggles with obesity. Mm-hmm. And we've been on our own health journey, but we want better for her. Yes. And so we have been referred to our local children's hospital to a weight management clinic.
Okay.
And so here are my 2 questions. Is this something that we should pursue? If so, how in the world do we have an age-appropriate conversation with an 8-year-old about her body in a really healthy, empowering way? We really do not want to hurt her in the process of trying to help her.
Gotcha. Number one, this one's hard, and so I appreciate your trust here, man. And man, I can hear it over the phone. You love this kid, don't you? Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. And I just want to call out at the beginning of this call, anything weight discussion is just so sensitive. And so I'm going to just go blaze right through the middle of this, okay? Mm-hmm. And if I don't say it the right way or if I lean one way or the other, please just know my heart is with you and your husband and this beautiful, mm-hmm. beautiful daughter, okay? So anytime I have this conversation, anything health related to a kid, especially someone who's like 8 and not 18, mm-hmm. I always want to know the percentiles, right? Which you gave me, 60 to 90. And it sounds like the 90% is increasing, right?
It's increasing by probably 2 to 3%.
Okay. Right.
It's not exploding, okay. But it's not going in the right direction.
Right. Okay. So this is a hard question. Where did she learn this? Where was this? Especially childhood obesity would fall under a disordered eating, right? Whether it's a coping tool or whether it's just available or whether it's a combination of 500 different factors. Where does she learn this? Either modeling or see it. Do you and your husband have weight challenges? Like, walk me through you and your husband's journey.
Yeah, so my pediatrician put me on my first diet when I was 5 years old. So I've got a pretty interesting history with my weight. And so I was on a diet from 5 to 30. I had bariatric surgery at 30.
Hold on. I don't want to say very interesting. I want to use the word trauma.
Oh, yeah, for sure trauma.
Okay. Not just interesting. I don't want to minimize it. That's hard. 5-year-olds should not be on diets, right?
Right. And so I had bariatric surgery at 30. I've maintained a 100-pound weight loss for the past 6 years.
Awesome.
My husband had bariatric surgery about 3 years ago. He's also maintained a 100-pound weight loss. We have about 7 members of our extended family who have had bariatric surgery and who have all maintained about a 100-pound weight loss for a significant amount of time.
Awesome.
So if there's an obesity gene, I'm pretty sure we have double.
Okay.
But we have in our family, we don't personally, but in our family, we've got type 2 diabetes and heart conditions and all of the things that go along with it. So I would say she probably learned it from us, even though I feel like I've been hyper vigilant on her eating and on her exercise and in her relationship with her body. And I feel like we're doing a lot of really great things with her nutrition and body talk and things like that. Like, I feel like we're really regimented and we're still struggling and she's still really struggling here.
Gotcha. So when you talk about you've maintained a 100-pound weight, number one, high five to you. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Okay. And I feel like I'm the both and guy always, right? Or the and guy. So that's incredible. And I've seen it to where maintaining the 100-pound weight loss becomes the new drug. And the regimen and the militantness becomes the new pathology. Is that you guys, or have you, for those of you who don't know, disordered eating is so hard because, like, if you're addicted to cocaine, you can just stop being around cocaine. You can't do that with food. You've got to make peace with it, right? And that's a whole other level. Are you in a healthy place with food, or is it something that you've learned to control through power?
I am very, very, very regimented with my food. I treat my relationship with food. I almost treat it like a food addiction. Like, I don't eat any form of sugar, even stevia, because one bite is not enough.
It's on.
It's on. Right. I mean, I'm out.
Yeah.
And so I eat 3 meals a day, no snacks. I weigh and measure my food. I have to be regimented because I live in a brain that says too much is not enough. And so I can hit a slippery slope fast.
Yes. Is your husband similar?
No, he is way more balanced with it than I am.
Okay. And he's maintained his weight loss. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So you, did he have the same childhood you had?
No, he really didn't. No, he didn't. Okay. He was, a fairly, average weight kid. He really started gaining in like high school and college. Mm-hmm. And then he had brain cancer a couple years ago and has an autoimmune disease. Mm-hmm. And because of the medicine that he takes, it caused some weight gain. Mm-hmm. And so that was a lot of the catalyst behind it.
Okay. Have you ever met with a psychologist or a counselor for any extended period of time?
Oh, I've gone for years.
Okay. So when somebody tells me they've gone for years and their day-to-day life is still so controlled by this narrative, there's a gap there. What is that gap? Right. What do you think that is?
So I've probably gone pretty consistently for 3, maybe 4 years, and we have unpacked a lot of family history or family trauma that I went through. So we've spent probably the first 3 years unpacking family trauma, and now have really spent the past probably 6 months to a year talking through my relationship with food and really unpacking my relationship with food and how I handle it.
Okay. So if every single person in your family, I'm not a medical doctor, so I cannot rule out any sort of genetic disposition, any sort of medical conditions that you and your family have. Okay. So you know about that. Your pediatrician knows about it. Your kid's pediatrician knows about that. Okay. Mm-hmm. What I can tell you is kids absorb. And when I say absorb, I mean they inhale it. It's the air they breathe. They inhale home tension and they inhale home peace in a really weird way. And it becomes them in a really weird way. And I don't know enough to tell you about weight and how that works. I just don't know enough, right? But I will use something like ADHD. If you have, like you hear a lot about, that's a neurological condition. It's a genetic issue. Mm-hmm. It is only in the right context, in the right environments, right? Mm-hmm. So in a particular brain, I'm a card-carrying member of that crew. So in a particular chaotic or exhausted or power or whatever childhood you want to wrap your head around, my brain went to solve problems that way, right? Which then leads to all sorts of anxiety issues and all sorts of this and this as I try to sit still in a classroom for 8 hours and then hold a job and all those other things, right? And so it may be, this is me just spitballing here, not medical advice, that your kid absorbs chaos, tension, regiment, power, and because of the series of genes that she inherited, her outlet becomes X, right? As though mine's is Y, right? It doesn't mean we're broken. It means our bodies are doing exactly what they were designed to do. Mm-hmm. At some point, that means that the focus in your world has got to shift, and this is so hard, has to shift away from fighting and towards peace. And I'm so happy to hear you are on that journey, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that a 5-year-old was put on a diet for 25 years and nobody said, hey, is this working? Right? That's such a traumatic thing that was done to you. And I'm so sorry that you experienced that. I hate that for you. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And my hope and dream is I'm very similar. If I have one gummy candy, dude, I'll eat everything, right? And I also know I can do that sometimes, and it's going to be all right. Nobody's, and then I'm going to be back on my cycle. So I've made peace with it, right? And that's what I long for you. So getting back to your daughter, 8-year-olds can't make peace. They're 8, right? Mm-hmm. Is your physician worried about your daughter's health? Is he scared for her, or is he listening to your family history and listening to your fear about your daughter?
He's listening to me.
Okay. So when he said, or she recommended that to go to a clinic, what does that mean? Is that an outpatient clinic? Is she going to go live there for 6 months? What is that going to be?
No, what it is so we will meet with a doctor and a dietitian via Zoom.
Okay.
And so she did labs this morning. They're going to look at her labs, look at her medical history, do some genetic testing to see if she has that obesity gene. Mm-hmm. And then she will.
So there is a genetic predisposition, right? There is that actual gene.
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure there is. She hasn't been tested for it, but okay. If I was a betting woman, I would bet that she probably does.
I don't know enough about obesity genes to know, so I trust you that there's there. And so then my guess is, just looking at epigenetics, that a whole host of people may have that gene, but given the right set of trauma and circumstances and fill in the blank, then that sucker, gets activated, and then here we go. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we're going to meet with them. We'll be paired with a pediatric dietitian, and then there are also some peer groups that she will be a part of and meet with Zoom, where they'll talk through activity and what are some good food choices and things like that, and kind of walk her through that. They also are doing a research study, and which is why they're going to do genetic testing on her. They're also doing a research study to track her and track kids in their programs through their adolescence to see who has the gene, how they respond to treatment, and who doesn't, and how they respond. Because I think that from what they said, there's a lot of research on prevention. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of research on damage control. When we're already here, not a lot of research about how to get out of here.
Yeah. So can I ask you this question? This is going to sound like an indicting question. It's not at all. How did your daughter get here? It sounds like you have a really regimented home that wouldn't have sugar and all the breads and all the stuff in it, and yet somehow she still found herself here. Mm-hmm. How did she? Is it just her body's response to protein intake and healthy saturated fat intake? I mean, how did she get here?
It can't be. It can't be that. I mean, it has to be us. I mean, there's times where we probably eat out twice a month. Mm-hmm. She gets ice cream a couple of times a month. But there are times where we're not as regimented. I mean, for the most part, we're probably 80% really regimented and 20% not. And so she had to have gotten here because of us. We're her environment.
But Megan,
by our hand in our lap.
80% wouldn't get you here. 80% would be a 20%, just using the math. Mm-hmm. I want to stay in my lane here, and I don't know enough about the medical. But an 80%, we're living an 80-20 life, in a normal circumstance would not equate to a 90 to 94, 93 percentile. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What's that gap? What am I missing?
I mean, it's easily that we could not have been as regimented as we have been in probably the past year. And so it could be that. I mean, it could be, I wish I knew. If I knew, I would have fixed this already. Okay.
What I want you to be really careful about that language that you just said, okay? Anytime, and you've lived this, anytime somebody becomes a project or something to fix because they are broken, that becomes trauma for the rest of their life.
Okay.
Okay? Your daughter's just, you love her so much, I can hear it, right? Here's the person I want you to love too. I want you to love you. You've accomplished so much, but it feels like you are still working so hard. Is that right?
Spot on.
After all of your success and turning the corner, you still don't like you. Why is that?
I don't know. I think I feel like I have to earn, and I have to prove myself and earn that love and prove that I'm successful.
Yeah, you don't got to earn nothing. And somebody told you that. A lot of people have told you that. That what you need to do is you need to eat better. What you need to do is you need to lose some weight. And what you need to do is whatever. And for some of us, like, we were told to achieve academically, we were told to achieve on a ball field. You were told to achieve in a dinner table. And that's bullcrap, and I'm so sorry that happened to you.
My mom used to tell me I'd be really pretty if I would lose weight.
Golly, dude.
And I was the cutest blonde-haired, green-eyed little girl.
I'm so sorry.
I don't want to do this to my daughter.
I know you don't.
I want so much better for her.
And here's where you start. You start with your mirror. Okay? Now, there's some very practical things that y'all are going to have to work through as a family, right? Her weight is her weight, and her challenges are her challenges, right? Y'all are going to have to work through that practically. But she is going to learn how to love herself by the most important, gigantic model she has in the world, and that's you. She's going to learn how to love her future partner. She's going to learn how to love food. She's going to learn how to love laughing, learn how to do all things from you. And if you say, you got to love yourself, she will not be able to know cognitively, but she will sense the disconnect between what you're saying and how you look at yourself. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's not an indictment. That is, I'm telling you that not to pile more crap on you, because you do not need that. I'm telling you that to let you know that your husband loves you, your little girl loves you, and the world is waiting on Megan to love Megan. You don't got to achieve nothing. Nothing. Okay?
Okay.
And you've listened to the show long enough. I'll tell you the truth. If I think you're being an idiot, I'll tell you the truth. Okay?
Okay.
Now, here's the hard reality. Your daughter is somehow she doesn't feed herself. She's somehow getting this stuff here. She is absorbing this stuff. And I think I don't have any problem with any sort of, if a medical doctor says, hey, we need to do a clinic intake, I'm in no position to override a medical doctor. What I would love to see is, and hopefully it would be a part of this protocol, I would love to see some sort of family counseling with the three of you. Maybe starting with you and your husband, and then moving over to include your daughter.
Okay.
Because I want to get underneath the symptoms here, underneath the eating, underneath the physiology here, underneath that, and say, how can we become a resource for one another of peace? Mm-hmm. Right? Not weighing everything. You may have to do that. That may be the rest of your life. I hope it's not. And I hope the counselor you're with, the psychologist you're with, is making peace with, not learning to get tougher, right? Being vulnerable with. And you've got to deal with the medical stuff with your daughter. I keep saying that over and over. But here's the thing. Y'all have to model a different life. And if that if that begins with her going to this program, great. And if it doesn't, great. How you tell her is just that you love her. Love, 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 love her. One thing I tell my kids all the time, they've got one job. I've got one job, and that's me helping them be safe. I'll say, what's my one job? And they'll roll their eyes and be like, keep me safe, right? I want you to let your daughter know that you love her and that you want her to be so well and so healthy. And that you're working on being healthy, that daddy's still working on being healthy, and you're going to help her learn some new tools on how she can be healthy.
Okay.
And you're going to start from there. Any sort of hiding or lying to a kid, they will absorb it, they will make it their fault, and they'll chase that down for the rest of her life. So you got to tell her the truth.
Okay.
Okay? But also, parents can weaponize that like it was done to you, right? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
You'd be so pretty if. You'd be so pretty if you could just lose it. That stops in your heart, right? You're not going to pass that one on, right?
Never.
Awesome. So it becomes, we want to have a healthy family that is always able to run and play and laugh and get old and be able to hang out with our dog, whatever the thing is, right? This is about building a beautiful, wonderful, healthy life, not running from an ugly one.
Okay.
And let's make no mistake, too, your daughter knows that she doesn't look like other kids. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. That's totally fair.
Yeah. And so we're going to focus less on the aesthetics, less on beauty, because she is beautiful and wonderful and spunky and fireball. We're going to focus less on that stuff. We're going to focus more on building something beautiful, okay?
Okay.
Hey, she is really lucky to have you as her mom.
Thank you.
And that knuckleheaded husband of yours is really lucky to have you as his wife.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Okay.
I'm so grateful that you called, Megan. Thank you so much.